Alright, we're getting into multiplying more here, and we've got binomials. So some of you guys used the device FOIL to help you remember what to do. FOIL means first, outer, inner, last. So we do first times first gives us x squared. Outer times outer gives us 7x. Inner times inner gives me negative 9x. And last times last gives me negative 63. And then I have to look for like terms. I've got these like terms in the middle. When I put those together, I get minus 2x. For number 20, first times first is w squared. Outer times outer is negative 8w. Inner times inner is 8w. And last times last is negative 64. Put my like terms together, and I have w squared minus 64 because these two canceled out. Next, I've got 4v squared plus 3v plus 4v plus 3. Put my like terms together, the terms in the middle, and I'm finished. Next, 6k squared minus 8k minus 15k plus 20. I put my like terms in the middle together, and then I'm finished. Number 23, 2a squared minus 6ab plus 5ab minus 15b squared. I have like terms in the middle. And then number 24, when I have a squared on the outside, that just means I'm multiplying that expression by itself. So I want to rewrite it. So I've got 4y squared minus 2y minus 2y plus 1. And then I put my like terms together, and I'm finished. Okay, number 25 is a little bit different because I've got 2 terms here and 3 terms here. So I'm going to say first times first, and then I'm going to take that first term and distribute it to the next one. And I'm going to take that first term and distribute it to the next one. Okay, then I'm going to use this second term and distribute it to everything. Now I have to look for like terms. Only one term has an x to the third. And then I've got 2 terms that have x squared. So those go together and make 1x squared. 3x and negative 20x make negative 17, and then the constants by itself. Same thing for 26. Distribute, distribute, distribute. Then you have to take the second one and distribute that. And you have to search for like terms. There's only one term with a c cubed. There's 2 terms with a c squared, so I'm going to put those together. There's 2 terms with a c, and there's only 1 term with an 11. Alright, now division. Division, we want to split this up into a bunch of mini problems. And then we just use our exponent rules like we did earlier. Okay, so we simplified the coefficients. 18 over 6 makes 3. And our exponent rule said we subtract. This is a to the third. This is a to the first. We subtract those to get a to the second. This is b to the first and b to the first. So we get b to the 0. And we learned that b to the 0 is 1, so it just totally cancels out the b. We have 12 over 6. 12 over 6 gives me 2. A squared over a to the first is a, and b squared over b is b to the first, which doesn't simplify any farther than that. Here we've got 6 over 6, which gives me 1, and this is a minus sign. A over a gives me a to the 0. B over b gives me b to the 0. So these both cancel out and are gone because they turn into 1s. So this would be my final answer. The next one, we're going to make a bunch of little problems. And we're going to simplify just like we did. Now when we divide a negative over a negative, that becomes a positive. So positive 3, x to the 4th over x to the 2nd, we subtract and get x squared. Here again we have a negative over a negative, so that's going to become a positive 1. X to the 3rd over x to the 2nd gives me x to the 1st. And then here we've got a positive over a negative. Positive over a negative gives me a negative, and then the x squareds are going to cancel each other out and give me x to the 0. So that x is gone. Okay, then we have 2 word problems. It says the length of a rectangular classroom floor is 19 feet less than twice its width. So I'm going to draw a picture because it says rectangle. If this is my W for width, it says the length of the floor is 19 feet less than twice its width. So twice its width minus 19. Write an expression to represent the area of the floor in simplest form. When you have a rectangle, you do length times width, length times width. So if area equals length times width, we fill in what we have. 2w minus 19 times w. And we're just going to multiply those together. So usually we write the thing that's by itself, the monomial, out in front. So I'm just going to switch the order. And then we distribute. 2w squared, distribute, minus 19w. Now either of these would be correct answers. It's just going to depend on if you have multiple choice, which answer they give you. Okay. Write an expression to represent the area of the shaded region below in simplest form. So if I wanted just the shaded part, I would do the big rectangle minus the little rectangle. So the big rectangle is going to be multiplying these two together. The little rectangle is going to be multiplying these two together. So let's do that in 2 steps. The big one's going to be 4x plus 7 times 2x minus 3. And I'm going to have to do first times first. Oops, that's an x. Minus 12x plus 14x minus 21. And then combine my like terms in the middle. So that's the big one. I'm going to do the small one, x times x minus 1. So I get x squared minus x. And now I have to subtract the big minus the small. So when I do the big one, minus everything from the small one. So minus x squared, and then when I say minus x, it's going to turn into a plus x because it was minus a minus. And now I put my like terms together. So I've got 8x squared and minus x squared, 2x and x, and then the minus 21 was by itself. Okay, and then we're not going to worry about these 2 questions or that question for 31.